Welcome, Holy Spirit. We are in your presence. Fill us with your power. Live inside of me. Welcome, Holy Spirit. We are in your presence. Fill us with your power. Live inside of me. Lord Jesus, we surrender all our surroundings, all the things around us. We surrender our confused minds at times, our troubled hearts at times. Lord Jesus, we surrender our experiences that sometimes discourage us, Lord Jesus. We surrender all these things into your mighty hands. Nothing fails to go through your attention. You are invested and equally attentive to every heartbeat, every thought. You are attentive to our kids, our parents, our families, our parenting, everything around us, Lord Jesus. Nothing goes unnoticed in your eyes, Lord Jesus. Hence, we turn to you with all that we have, with all that we are, and with all that we are called to be. You're the living water, never drying fountain, comforter and counselor, take complete control. You're the living water, never drying fountain, comforter and counselor, take complete control. Welcome, Holy Spirit. We are in your presence. Fill us with your power. Live inside of me. Let us all praise Jesus. Thank Jesus. Thank Father. Thank Holy Spirit. Thank you, Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. Abba, Father. Thank you, Abba, Father. Praise you, Abba, Father. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Praise you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Praise you, praise you, praise you, praise you, praise you.
Surrendering today's day into Mother Mary's hand, we ask for our Mother's intercession. Hail Mary, full of grace.
The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Okay, so welcome all of you on this hot afternoon. Welcome to Georgee Chaitan. It's difficult to introduce Georgee Chaitan, like he would know all the old timers like Sinjitsi, Bosco Chaitan and all, but I still make an attempt. So from what little we have spoken to Georgee Chaitan, Georgee Chaitan is in US in Dallas. He's been there for the last 20 years. He is with his family, 5 kids. So Chaitan and Chichi have been homeschooling them. And they've been on their way to high school. I think Chaitan has been in the movement for a very long time, close to 30 years, I would guess. I think his journey started with in his college days in Trivandrum. So welcome, Georgee Chaitan. Over to you. Nothing more to add.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for having me for this session. It was like I few times I had been to Canada and met Sindhu and others there, and it's a long time, and it is good to meet you all again. And most of the faces are new because I didn't have much interactions in the last few years. I think you are all become part in the recent, maybe in the last 5-7 years maybe. Good to meet all of you. Uh, yeah, I basically like when I was asked about the session and I thought about this session, I thought like making it more interactive, and because but there is a limitation how much on a Zoom call like we could be interactive, but still like as much as possible like we want to make it interactive, and so and another thing, like basically the areas of family, I was involved with the family ministry here from the beginning here, and then like basically in the last 21 years, like I was in US, like very much involved with the movement and the youth ministry and all. So uh, lot of incidents in the sense like failures, success stories, and blunders, or learning everything, because we all new to this context here, like on a Western context, and we never had an experience like how to do a ministry with a new generation, like or a totally a new context. It was not just replicating what we were doing in India. Like I was part of the JV movement from my college times in TKM college. So basically, I saw the methods, the activities they are happening, but like our the first temptation was to replicate like whatever success we had there, like to here, but that failed. That was not that easy, and so basically then trying to learn things like in the hard way, like how we can go about, and also the family dynamics, bringing up the children, and all that in the newer context. Like it's all within the movement, like because basically the movement is like we all families, children, and the youth are all together. Like how to move forward, like how we will address the challenges, how we will be successful in this journey. Like so these are all the questions like coming up continuously, and it still continues. Like it is not like okay, yeah, we reach somewhere, we still have struggles, we still have difficulty, and we'll still have unknowns, and prayerfully discerning it, praying and finding out that way. So that journey is still continuing. But one thing like to even though there were struggles, difficulties, failures, and all, when we look back, it was a positive experience. Like you could see, even though the number were not big, there were a good number of young families who grew up here. Like maybe that number is like basically like our commitment. If I guess, like it is half the half, or maybe more than 1/3 of the commitments is coming from the young families. Maybe that comes to 50 to 100 or something like that. Something that number, even though like when we look into the 20 years, like okay, when you quantify it, like is it a big number? No, it's not a big number, but at the same time, they are in a serious journey with the movement. Like so that is something like give hopes, and as you may know, like we have one priest who grew up here, and two more in seminary, and one more joining, and one a consecrated virgin. And like because these are the fruits of the movement, the how the children grew up in the movement. But these are all success stories. But when we look into the numbers and all other things, like there are like numbers may not be that much. So we can think that okay, like what is that effort, like why that was not a big move happened and all. uh, that's all like we need to discern with the Lord, like what is that, it's all Lord's plan. So that's an overall idea. So one thing like one thing a blessing for me, like I was part of this journey, like actively part of the journey in the movement. Like so so that experience is something like which I could share. So when I thought of this thing, this session, like I thought like whether it is more like okay, more of a church teaching or anything like that, or more of a like how I should focus. I thought of like getting into more of the practical side. So that is a practical change. We can uh, we can talk about like, okay, what the church talks about, the family and the mission and the life and all that. It's very clear, like it is very clearly written. Many times, like many of the challenges we face, like we think that, okay, this is, oh yeah, first time like we are all encountering it. But like when we go through the church teaching, like it is not a newer reality. Like the families were struggling, people were struggling in their spiritual journey from the very beginning. It is not a newer thing, but like there were many people, like even though the number is not like a huge millions or anything, but there is a good number of people like who overcome that difficulty, and that path is a sure path which church offers to each of us. But like then I thought like getting more into more of a practical aspect of it, like even though deriving from that understanding and the knowledge of the church. So that is what like I would do, like, and as one thing I wanted to tell, and I'm also struggles in all these aspects. Like it is not like, okay, my I have 5 children, and four of them are teenagers this year. So one is going to college, and two are in high school. So like going through the experience with them, and also like as few in your group also, like the friends, like the friend circle, like which we have, like, or like in my age, like almost all of us have children in the colleges or high school, that age. So we all like share like our daily experience, or our experiences, like how things are going with the open mind, and that all. So there is a learning and understanding from that perspective too. One thing is that like even though there is struggles and all that, I think the Lord is leading all of us in the right direction. Like it may not be a perfect journey, but at the same time, like we have the confidence in God that nothing to worry about, like nothing to be discouraged about. So that is the confidence like which I have. So basically this is the background of our discussion today. So I don't want to talk much, but I wanted to like my desire is to like hear you, and also like if you have any questions to answer. But like to set the stage, like I may do a little talk, and so I'm not a talkative person. Like I am more of a listener. If I am not forced to talk, like I go more of a silent mode. That is my by nature. But like I will try to talk on that. So yeah, so I think like we could just an introduction of what we were doing. Anything like before we start, like I will share a small presentation also, like any questions or anything before we start. Please feel free to be interactive. Otherwise, like hearing only my voice, it will be boring. So I know that everybody won't be that free to interact in the beginning, but anybody like who is make it more interactive and free, that will be awesome. Any questions? If you don't have any questions, then we will maybe go slowly.
No questions, Georgette. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. I'll what is that? Some. Okay. 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 I will share my desktop. So are you seeing my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Good. So um, basically, like to begin with, like I thought like to get a context of our discussion, like we can think about like what is our realities like, what when we are here as families, and we are not totally new to this context. We know what is happening around us, and something some challenges, like we feel like, okay, this is some challenges I need to address, or this is a reality, and or these are a strength or anything like, when you think about like, okay, as a community, as a Java community there, what are our real realities, like in the sense like what you actually experience, like in the sense like, or the challenges or anything what when you think about the life here as a JY community, like the thing about, especially from a context of the family. So I would think that like, we will gather that, and then we will connect it from the session. We'll connect it from more like, from your basic thoughts on that. So these are challenges, strengths, or anything. So I'm just like providing this link, like the slido.com link, that the number is also there. Like if you can just type in like anything like, which you think like, which is coming to your mind, maybe few things, one thing or more than that, like you could just type in, so that like we know that like, it is connecting, the session is connecting to what are in your mind. So if you can input things. I think it is anonymous, like it is not like coming with the name or anything, but great. Yeah. Cultural conflicts, friends and so on. Good. Yeah, I will give one more minute, like, and then we will maybe get into the session. Cultural conflicts. So I will just read it out, like how much is too much, if at all. Kids always see us in JV meetings. So it is basically like on our schedule, like how we will balance the ministry. How much is too much? Okay, this is same. Support from other JV families. Oh, sorry. Disconnect with JV youth grown up here. So that may be more of a youth ministry. How to be the role model versus being preachy. Challenges in a family where both want to minister. Is it possible to do so with young children, or would have one have to step back a little to see to the home strength? Christ focused, reducing importance of faith. How to balance ministry time versus attention to children in their early formative years. JWA meetings and family time. Both parents needing to work. All core JWA families are far apart, busy schedules, influence on children, JT circles versus what the world has to offer. Pride month at schools and how do we respond? Cultural conflicts. Great. Uh, I think this is a good start for us to begin. This is very common to what we face here too. I don't think it is any much different from there or here, because basically we all belong to the same landscape, basically the cultural landscape and all. And one thing which I would like to say that this is basically these are all deep rooted issues. We won't be able to simply solve it in one day or in one few actions or anything. But it is a journey. It is a faith journey, where we constantly battle this thing and then try to solve it. And definitely there is a path. And that is this is a journey. So I wanted to tell that so we'll have to constantly, even with the discouragements or even with any failures, we should not be give up, and but we should continue with the hope that we will reach the end. So in that beginning, so for any successful journey, three important aspects of it. You need to know where you are, your reality. Sometimes we think that we our thought about our current situations or where we are maybe very much not in the right, not fully true. So we may be assuming things, but we need to know where you are, for a journey to be successful. And then we need to know where you want to be, and then the means for reaching there. So these are the three important aspects for any journey. But for our spiritual journey too, or in this family journey too, we need to know where we are currently, and our desires. So basically sometimes even though we think that our desire is more for spiritual things and all that thing, but if we closely analyze our deep within, many times the orientations are more worldly things. So that is more of our introspection with the Lord, and in our prayer time, and Lord, what is my desire? And then understanding these both aspects, then trying to see that how we will reach there. So this is the same, the methodology we should have to follow to for this journey too. And uh, so when this is quoting a proverb, it says that without a vision the people lose restraint. Some Protestant version says that without a vision the nations perish, the people perish, basically. So there's a Proverbs 29:18. So this is when we look into our families also, when I say what is our vision, in the sense what we desire for our family, in the sense we have there are families with little children, teenagers, or maybe grown up children and all, so basically looking ahead, okay, what we desire actually. So if our desire are not on the on the things which we should, so we will never have a journey. So we need to visualize, okay, Lord, what I want, what would like to happen in our family, how my children should become. So what is their priority? So setting that priority correct, and like because nothing is bad, like, but if I have bigger worldly ambitions, like it is not at all bad. But like if my worldly ambitions like fully occupy the space, and there is no space for spiritual things, then I can never be a spiritual person, even though like I may think or I may desire spiritual things. So that is that aspect we need to think that, like, okay, if I want, like if I think that, if I have an understanding that like, okay, being spiritual, being prayerful, being closer to God is important. So but like if that need to be a priority, if that priority is very low, on the lower levels, like we will never be able to achieve that. So the family at any point of time, or as an individual or as a family, we need to always think about it, like what we desire, and what is the priority of the things, like which I have in my life. And also if suppose sometimes like I think that I have a higher priority, but that doesn't reflect my everyday life, so that is also not going to happen. So basically thinking of the priorities, and if my everyday life has that connection with that priority, that ordering with that priority. So these are the three aspects like we need to keep in mind for our spiritual journey. So um, so basically, like thinking like these are the challenges, especially like when we look into the many of the feedbacks like which you wrote, like it is more with the children, the family, and how we should like move forward with the family. So even like when I was working with the families here, like. I always like ask myself and others, like when the families come together, what we are trying to build. So sometimes like the impression is that it is an adult prayer group. It is an adult prayer group, like where the adults like can come together and spend some time in their and to a prayer meeting kind of things. And sometimes like it has more of a fellowship aspect also to that. So whether like that's not at all bad, it's very good to have a prayer together, and at the same time like to have a good fellowship and all that thing. So that is what generally happens. Generally happens when the family gatherings. Basically, we call it a family prayer meetings and all. But like so is that happening, and that good in itself also. But are we able to solve the problems, like because we listed like, and there are many more in that list, like okay, if you go on, if you have more, if you get more time, like you could list many more, like. But like are our fellowship or the family gatherings are able to address any of these challenges? If not, like then are we meeting the like the need? So basically going to all these challenges, somebody wrote it as a culture, a new culture. So it is a new culture, like we are in a new culture. So like if we don't make an alternative culture, we won't be able to handle these uh, cultural issues. So basically like the families, when we come together, so are we building a new culture? If not, like if you are like, as I said earlier, like if you are just trying a good fellowship or a good prayer, intuitively it is good, but like we are not like handling the new culture, or we are not setting a path for the people to tread their spiritual journey. So one thing which is important is that like we built a culture, an alternative culture, and that is not a little effort. That is like a big effort, in the sense you should be very much convinced about what we are doing. And also the one thing like which we could do here as a family is like is thinking about like whether we could do an alternative culture here, and based on the gospel, based on the church teaching, based on the context we are in also. Like, so basically, for most of us, like, there are many challenges. Like, we are in a new context. We are not in a context like where we grew up. I don't know like how many of you grew up in the context like where you live, like, but like, coming to a new context, like, you don't have much awareness of what is happening. And also, like, it is it is like the world is changing in a very, very, what you can say, in terms of culture, like a redefinition is happening. Everything, like, we were not aware of like gender identity, gender, or all these things, the cultural, the like things like happening around us. So how to address that? But and I don't know like how much we encounter that, like we being adults, and we are not like in the formation, like in the forming area, in the campuses or in the schools or anything. But our children has to go through all this turmoil of the newer culture, in the independence, or a freedom. So they call it is more of a freedom, like, and it is one way, it is a freedom to, like, okay, freedom to choose anything like they want. It is not like they are not restricted, constrained. It is a noble idea. Like, the people in all the generations, like, they wanted to be free. They wanted to choose their own, like, preferences. But they were not able to do that, because like society was so constrained. And the society, like, and they didn't have the freedom, they didn't have the choice and all that thing. So but like, now people are getting that freedom, and they are trying to redefine everything. The social norm is that, like, if you are not hurting anybody, if you are not doing damage to somebody else, like, you can do that. And any young person who comes to hear that, like, you say, like, yeah, this is very, very reasonable. Why you bother about other person's life, or why you like put like a spanner into somebody's, like, desires and all other thing, and block it? So let them be joyful, let them be free, and let them choose what they want. So this is a very noble idea. So when we try to address our young children with our thoughts, they say that this is outdated, this is not like reasonable, and this is not like a modern or contemporary. So we fail in that attempt there. And even that struggle is happening within the families, new cultural context. And also, like, the time wise, like, the modern work environment, like, people getting busy, like, both the parents are working and not available. And also, like, the influence earlier, in earlier generations, the parents had the bigger influence, because they were the formators, they were telling them like what to do. But now it changed, like, they are getting information from all other sources, like, they are like, even though they are staying at a home, like, they are more connected with other entities outside the home than the parents, because to the social media and all other aspects. So these are all a modern challenge, like, which we are facing. And many realize all these things, like, when a consequence happen to their life. It is not like, okay, like, okay, when we look into, their children are more on the internet or anything. So basically they are spending their time, and we are not agreeing with that. But what is the impact that makes to them, like, we will not know when they become, like, maybe teenagers or more adults, like, so they got already formed by all of that. So but like, and we didn't have the time availability or the means to form them. So all these are challenges, which it's a reality, and we cannot simply run away from that. We cannot, like, put a like a lid on everything, and then say that, like, no interaction from outside world, because the children had to live, like, in the world. Like, if they are not capable of leaving this world, we are incapacitating them. So they need to be out, they need to interact, they need to face it. But like, okay, if they go that way, what we can do? So this is basically a situation, like, where every family is struggling with. And even that starts not, like, many people, like, I hear, like, oh, everything was okay till they were teenagers, but everything's changed at the point of a teenager. So that is not true. Their formation was happening from the very beginning, but they got their identity, or they tried to assert themselves at the age of teenage. So that doesn't mean that the formation just happened or something just before that timeline happened that caused the switch. The switch has happening like very long back from the very early childhood, even the infant stage. So that were not seen outside. That is the only difference, like which happened like when they become teenagers, or in the earlier adulthood and all. So uh, nobody knows like what to do, like when I look around, when the churches, like whether like or all the community, even the Jesus youth, like like whether we are properly addressing it, like no, not to that extent. But something who can address this thing is basically the parents. Even I am not quoting the church teachings. The church teaching is very clearly saying that these are like, even though these are all challenges, the only like it cannot be handled through CCD. It cannot be handled like properly through any other formative methods. But the right formative method to address all of them is a family. So when I look into like what is a good possibility, like another challenge is that, okay, I know that, but like how I am not equipped for that. I am not aware of anything. Like when such situations come, like I don't have any clue how to handle it. This is what like we hear from around. So that is also true. Like all the people do not have that understanding, like how to handle many things, and many are unaware. So there is what the collectiveness, like of our movement and all that thing could come up, like collectively enabling the parents. Like I would say, it is not like taking over the formation of the children by the movement, but at the same time, the parents, like enabling the parents, because basically the choices, like like I cannot take decisions for somebody else children. I cannot take like observe something and say this is the right way, because it's all have consequences. It's all have preferences, like based on the family. Like my family preference may not be another person's family. They may be more academically oriented, or like they wanted to excel in their studies or anything like that, or they may want to spend more time in like in their extracurricular activities and all that thing. So but only a parent can say that, like, like this is what, like my that's what I said, like about the vision. So when I look into my vision of my children, am I looking into more successful children, or very like successful life for them, or I want them to be like, even though at the cost of success, I wanted to them to be a very good or spiritual person. Like sometimes, like people misunderstand that, like, oh, I need both. I can have both, but there is, like, again, there is a priority. Like if you are fully focusing on studies, like, or if you don't have the time for all other aspects of your life, I will come into the details of that. But then definitely they are lacking it, like, and if they are not getting at that time, they may not get at that later time. So that way, the parent has to take the final decision. The parent has to say that, okay, this is how my children should grow. This is their priority, and this is what they, at least till the age they are 18, or till high school, or even the teenage year, like we have the full control. But like and we need to exercise that full control. And so enabling the parents, the, like, okay, like how we should uh, bring up the children, or build up a culture. So this is what, like from a movement's perspective, or a collective entity perspective, we can do. So this is what, like when we see, like how we will address this problem, like this is what, like uh, that comes to my mind. And yeah, we will. So then we will look into that, like how is that possible, like what are the things, like we need to be mindful of this, and like how we can form them, like, or how we can build that culture. One thing, like what, like the realities around us, like one aspect of this, that making family a joyful experience. So whether whether this is a reality in our life. Like basically, I know many children like they don't want to spend time at home because home is not a pleasant experience. Home is where they rather than peace, love, and joy, like it is more yelling and conflicts and all other type of things. Like our home, like whether a place the children wants to belong, and that is not like if you see like many of the social situations happening around us, may not be with the Java families or with our own community, but like many of these problems, like the basic issue is that the families is not a joyful experience for them. They don't belong there, and they don't enjoy like the security, the safety of the family. So I know like when I moved to Dallas 6 years back. Before I was in Chicago for 14 years. Like we had a like ministry to the south side Chicago for some time. So we used to go to a Catholic school there for retreats. So when for the eighth graders, so for the eighth graders, like we were doing the annual retreat for a couple of years. We did it. So every year, like when we go there, the children, like something like when they were asked, like okay, something to be prayed for them, and then they say that okay, my mom doesn't love me, or she has like she loves more her boyfriend and all, basically like coming from like all the issues they face is coming from the brokenness of their families. So even though like our families may not be broken to that extent, or only slightly broken, but at the same time we need to think that like okay, whether our children like they have a pleasant experience at home when they sit there, like they are not seeing conflicts, they are not seeing like fights or any other thing, like so that is an important aspects of giving a very good family environment. So the consequence of that is that like their distance if that happens, like there is a slow distancing happening in their mind, and they won't be available to form for influence. So always like they have a very loving trusting relationship with the parents. So that is the point, like we can influence them. So a fundamental thing is that the family environment should be very good, and and the unity of parents in decisions and approaches, like the sometimes like the like we don't agree upon, the father says one thing or mom says something different, or like they have the conflicts, how they should what are the priorities, how to bring up them. And parents should have that unity, like okay, like how this is how my children should grow up, like, and this is how they should be formed, and this is what they should be doing. That the unity of parents in decisions and approaches in their formation, and active participation in their lives. So active participation in their lives means, like I'm going little faster. Active, like we can, like if you have any questions, like we will come back during the question time. Active participation in their lives is basically like one thing, like, we are all very much involved. We are very much involved, and because like we spend our best effort on them, but like it is not in a heart to heart relationship. It is meeting in their physical needs. We are teaching them, we are feeding them, we are taking them to all the sports events, games events, all the cultural, like basically the dance and all other type of things. So these are the actions of more of a physic, like in the sense it is not a heart to heart, like a heart relationship, like it is developing their mind in a very different way. Like, I agree that like sports and games, like arts and all will do that to some extent, but more of a what they really feel, what is going on with them. Will they come to say because these things happens like in a very informal way. It is not like okay, we go and ask a formal question, like a formally interact. It won't come, like because you have a very informal, like a relaxed time. That is a time like people talk heart. So if you don't have that quality time, like a very free, and we are also should be free, there should be free, like that type of intimate times, like at home, is very much essential for them to develop a heart-to-heart relationship. Many places, like because I had the privilege of talking with many youth. They grew up in our own families and other families too. But like they were all saying like something that, oh, they were doing so many things, they were after me, they were concerned, they were praying everywhere they go, they're after them. But at the same time, we never had a heart-to-heart relationship. Like we never had that type of intimacy developed. One reason is that like they never understood that like such a need in their children, need to be loved, need to be like talked, need to be expressed sentiments, feelings. It is not a one way only. Like you can like it is a two-way. Like it is not like a one way. So that type of a active participation in the children's life. And another is a non-intimidating guidance. So many parents like is a more of a dictate. So yeah, do that, you don't do it, or you cannot do that. Like it is a final like you see like a order coming in without much explanation, without much like understanding what they have to say. So basically like such situation, like the children, what they say, they're close to you. Like, okay, I just now I don't have an option. Like I got the final word, so I don't I cannot talk, I cannot express myself, or there is no point in talking. So that type of even from a very early childhood, like that doesn't mean that like we should give in to all their demands and all other things. That is also very bad. But at the same time, like always have a conversation. Like the guidance or the orders from the parents should not be intimidating, or they have that. So then that is break that communication channel. And another thing is the parental dynamics. Like they have to lot to learn from a parental dynamics. Like one time, like I was handling a issue in the movement. Like one of the youth, like she had a complaint against some one of the adult animators there. And then I like it was a simple thing, like it was not a big thing. Then I asked like, okay, why you didn't express that to him, go and talk to him like about like what happened, like, oh, this is something like she didn't like or anything like that. A very simple thing. Then she said like, I don't have the habit of doing that. I said like, why you didn't try? I cannot do that. Like, so then I was trying to prod more, like why she was not doing. And then she told me like, okay, yeah, like my experience at home is different. Like when my parents talk to address something, it ends up in big flare up, and I cannot handle that flare up. So basically from that experience, what I will never go and even simple things, I will not go and express myself and say that I am annoyed, or I was not happy with that, because I fear a flare up. So basically like our parental dynamics at home are also very important. Like how we resolve it doesn't mean that like we should not have conflicts, or we should not have disagreements and all that thing. It is very natural, and it is like, but how we address that, how we address the dynamics within the family. Like if there is a need, so is one person is scared of the other person, or one person is like dominating the other space. And one boy like who told me, like he was in his late 20s, like he said, I don't want to get married. I said like, what? I never thought, like I thought like I was not going to get married. So he was explaining more that basically he was saying that I don't want to be like my dad, because my dad was basically my mom was like more of a like like she had her way on everything. And finally he given, and he was very quiet. So that way, like I don't want to be my dad throughout my life. So his solution was not to get married. So basically what I'm saying is that like the parental dynamics like play a major role in the formation of their children. Like we never see all these things. Like we think that if we are taking care of it, like we had some conversation, it is not impacting them. And why I said this in the overall culture is that like ultimately our desire is to influence them. Ultimate our responsibility is to form them. We like if they have something like, oh, my dad is something like is not a just person. yeah, like he's not like practice what he is preaching or something like that. If they have the block happen in their mind, they will never listen to us. So they will go the opposite way. Like whatever our instructions come in, they want like because basically they unknowingly, knowingly it is deep within their mind. So that like, okay, I don't want to listen to it because I have something against this person or these people. So that type of environment we won't be able to form properly. So the first of all, like our role is to create a loving, trusting environment for the children, so that like we can influence them, we can guide them, and they will listen to them. So and another aspect is that the well integrated with the family's everyday life. So another challenge which I see, like in most of our families, like this is more evident than the American families. Like the children do not have much integrated with the family's life. Like if a guest come, they don't know like who is that, and even they don't know what are the finances, what is the struggles the parents go through, and what is the any family difficulties happening, or any sickness happening, or any of these realities, like they are not at all connected. So that means like they are like they are on a very isolated life. So we are not like by integrating them with the family's everyday life, like we are opening our minds, like what is going on, how we are addressing a problem, how we are overcoming a difficulty, how is that this is a big learning for them. And also like through that only they will understand what is their parents mind, and what is their love and the care and the way like they all handle things. So these are the few things like which we will make that like the family setting, the environment very conducive for such a formation. So so that's what like on a first step we had to do. So act like in one sense, like it is house is not a place to do things or sleep or eat or anything. It is like where is a very living space, like where there is a very deep interactions happen within the family members, expressing themselves and understanding themselves. So this is one area like we all need to work like to get that. And maybe and second thing, uh, yeah, and the second aspect, like the education. So when we look into education, like even from a very early childhood, we think of like educating education responsibilities on the school, and they are busy, they are learning so many stuff there. They are getting skills developed, all other type of things. But like even from the church point of view, and also like it is not only from the church point of view. So there are education is not like learning skills or some knowledge or some information. It is like in the areas of intellectual, human, spiritual, all these things education like should happen to that is forming a person. So basically like the school is doing only like maybe a part of the intellectual education. And sometimes like even though it is not the fully intellectual education, it is like when I sometimes like critically evaluate it, they are getting some skills and a good information flow. But like are they able to analyze it properly? Are they able to look beyond through that? And like are you able to like I'm not saying that it is not there, but like something like an intellectual formation, in the sense like how to reason with things and how to go about with that. Or and another aspect, like human formation and the spiritual formation, is also part of the education. But like what who is doing that? Who is doing the human formation in the sense, and who is doing the spiritual formation? Like spiritual formation, like mainly like if you look the faith, hope, love, uh, and the other formation, like the freedom, like what is their concept of the freedom, how responsible they are with their things, socially not individually responsible with their things, socially responsible, what is their attitude of service, professional work, solidarity, art, sport, and the concept about the fatherhood, motherhood. So all this aspect of it, like so who is forming them? like sometimes we think that like a school is forming them in their in their intellectual areas, and maybe CCD is doing some spiritual and human formation. But like are we making sure that like if that is happening, that is good. But like but basically the church teachings very clearly say that this responsibility on nobody else but on the parents, like a person's like how whether, because basically the children comes up, like I have 5 children, and when I closely observe them, like they have all different natures. So when I see the challenges individually, like it is very different. Like one person is like is more like a more self-oriented, like, or more taking care of himself, and but like then, so it is not like okay, they're just growing in the family, like they have all have the same like a mold of everything. It is not like so. So basically getting involved there and then trying to form them, and to influence them, their thought, the mind, and all that aspect is on a parental responsibility. So unfortunately, like we are not able to do that. They are very busy with their studies. Like we load them up with the maximum they could do in their academic part, and they don't have the time for other aspects of it. And then like so then so that way, like once they grew up and they don't have anything. So sometimes like for practical things, like when I see even in my home, like when the children have the assignments or something to submit, or some school work to do, even though the mom is sick, or there is a bigger need at home, they simply like go and taking care of their things. So when I see that, like I'm seeing that as a nature. I'm seeing that as a bad formation. Like sometimes, like yeah, you may have to lose your grades, or you may have to like give up like some of your like achievements, like for taking care of other thing. If that is not part of a formation at home, or like okay, like how it is not like the life is not at all around you. Like there is like other aspect, like sharing, caring, or looking around and then trying to see what is needed. And that type of an attitude needs to be built from the early childhood. But for our like sometimes like we think that okay, like you don't do anything at home, you just go and study, that we are doing a big favor to the children. Like but that is a disservice to them, because basically they are not like and when they grew up and they are not able to lead a family life with someone, it is not their no, not their fault, because they never know like what the other person wants, or how to take care of the other person, even though they like they don't have any ill will, or they don't want that to fall apart or anything. But ultimately that happens. Like so basically forming in faith. And like sometimes, like even I was telling my children, like because they are all somewhat grew up, the evening time, like evening prayer is somewhat like yeah, monotonous. I told them like, okay, even I am on the culprit for many times. Like I am also like tired, or like or my thoughts are somewhere else when we do the prayer. And I told them one thing, like okay, I saw many people telling this thing, many young people telling this thing, like oh, I went to CCD. I was a regular person in the Holy Mass, and when I was an altar server, and we need to do continuously prayed like the evening prayers all through my childhood, but I never encountered God. I never encountered God. So basically, then they are thinking that like they are making a statement that yeah, because if I didn't do it, then it was my fault. But even after doing that, I never encountered God. So I was telling them like, see, the issue is that like you are not wholeheartedly seeking. You don't have that desire. If you don't desire, and if you don't pray, and when you come instead of like going through the notion of like okay, I prayed and I went on, like so you look into your put into your heart and seek, then only you will see the God. And so basically when we need to look into them and see that like okay, are they having the faith? Are they like it is not like we they went to the church or they went to the CCD and they will automatically get the faith and all that thing. They may, but if they are not, like, then we need to look into that, how to interact with that. So since we have a very good relationship, like it doesn't need to be a big authority or a big knowledgeable person, but like since we have a relationship, we can do hard talks. For hard talks, like it doesn't need like a knowledgeable person or anything like that. So that type of a responsibility, and the charity, practicing, like how what we are doing for them to have a charity, more temperance, fortitude, modesty, chastity. These are all like they learn, they need to learn from the parents. And sometimes, like, this is very practically I saw the children, like the parents are like very much scared of everything. They don't trust any neighbors or any of their community, and but they're scared of everything happening, like the sickness and all other type of things. And ultimately, like, we are passing these sentiments deep within to the children, and they will be never having a courageous people. Like, they will be intimidated by everything around them, and they won't trust anything. So basically, like, the parents, like, our value system, what we are, become influential in a negative way to the children too. So thinking about all these aspects, like, what we can do, like, as individuals, as a couple, as a family, as a community, like how we can improve it. This is an area, like, we have to look and work every day. That's what I said. Like, it is not a one-time thing. It is more of a journey, and a continuous working on that. Another area is basically the materialism. Like, when I say that, like, the things, like, it's simply saying that, like, yeah, things are important, like, and people, like, they always, they never see people. They only, even us people, like, they look into us things only. Like, in a friendship definition, it says that there are some friendships, like, which it is for their own good. It is not for a, like, if suppose I want to play soccer with somebody, and I will go with a person. That is only for the purpose of playing the soccer. I don't have much friendship within. That person is absent tomorrow, I will go with another person. So basically, like, they don't see that persons, like, so basically, like, what in a Christian world, like, or in a Christian life, the relationship between the people, the depth of love and depth of concern and all that thing, like, should be inculcated from an early age, through parenting. So yeah, so that way, and individualism too, like, okay, it is all I matter, like, there is no we in their life. Okay, it is only, like, I want that, I will go there, I will decide. And these are also, like, very much present in the society, and knowingly unknowingly they are very much influenced by that, and we need to undo that, and to bring up, like, okay, it's a collective life and all. Another area is the media usage. Basically, the modern studies even show that, like, too much, all these things are like, disabling them in their learning capacities, in all other aspects of reading, listening, and all other things, because they want, their brain will be only oriented to see the visual, visual media with the sound effects and all that thing. Like, we need to know, like, how we can control that. So I like, there is one person, like, who was always saying that, instead of telling no, you show them something better, and argue with them, like, this is better than that, like, so go with that. Okay. Okay. And I will go fast. And sibling, between siblings, like, there is the, like, many places, like many homes, like, it is a flat hierarchy, because basically within siblings there is no accountability and responsibility. We need to think that, like, what should be our family model, is that, like, just learning from outside, like, if there is no accountability, like, the older children will never take responsibility. And because if the younger ones say that, who are you to correct me, and they will say that, okay, you are on your own, like, so basically these two, accountability and responsibility, go together. And we should have that type of, we need to, like, I will tell that the parents should have an understanding, like, how that sibling relationship should be. And another aspect is that encouraging community. Like many times, even many of the communities like is always critical, always like looking for faults and all that thing. But the children will make mistakes, and they are all not equal, and they are unique, and there are their strengths and weaknesses. And community should encourage like in a positive way. That doesn't mean that like to like close their eyes towards to wrongdoing, but at the same time like it should be like supportive of them. And age appropriate spiritual practices, basically some we will make the little children to do all the spiritual exercise at home. We need to think that like that will also like not good. Like, okay, how long a kid of 5 year or 7 years pray? It doesn't like the family has to decide that like we will make them doing things like which is not age appropriate, is also sometimes like not good. That is also like the parents may have to find out. Like, so all this like when I glance through all these things, like it is basically to tell areas like we need to develop our own understanding or our own like methods in a family. um, so I was going a little faster, and so basically, so these are in general like which I had to talk. I would say that like now I will stop, and I would listen like if there is any questions, and collectively like, it is not like I have the answer for everything, but like whatever my experience I could share, and we could chip in. Thank you.
The floor is open for questions.
George, one question. Uh, how do you start a new habit? Like, for example, you're going on a certain path, and then you realize, you need to change or give new directions to children. Children are very smart to know, okay, it's a new thing. So how do you subtly bring change into your family environment, whether it is spiritual, whether it's communication? How do you bring change?
Uh, can you be a little more specific? Like, if you can say, like, exactly, maybe, like, can you little more specific?
Yeah, like for example, let's say for example, I'll give an example: family prayer, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, for example, if you're not had regular family prayers and you want to introduce that, or if you do not give directions to your children to do certain habits, uh, like uh, like uh, like more communications, for example, and then you say, okay, you don't want to start this. So how do you bring? How do you convince children? Okay, this is a different way we'll do things.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Uh, it is definitely like, especially even a little older, like the communications. Like I could share like one of my experience. So basically, like my wife, like she homeschools, and then she takes care of all the work, and we have sometimes like a lot of guests coming in, and there are a lot of work like she does. And sometimes her day ends by 11:30 or something like that. And during one of the evening prayers, I told my children, like, see, like now you are all grew up, like you all should help. You all should help with some work, like, and all. And so they all agreed. They said that's good. Like we will help. Like, but like after 1 or 2 weeks, like next week or few days or next week or anything, I didn't see much change. And I said again the same thing. Like, okay, you should do like in 2 3 occasions. Like when my son said, like my who is 15. Like he said, like, Appa, like there is a problem with what you say. Like you are just telling us every time, but like you are not like, if you assign things, like if you assign, okay, you do this work on Wednesday, or you do this work or this work every day or something like that, that will make things happen, right? So but this is not like a situation for everything. So then I said, I don't want to do that, because basically my intention is not to get things done. My intention is that, like, you participate in the life of the family. Like, tomorrow you see a bigger need there, but you are that is not assigned to me, you just walk away. That is a bad attitude. My attitude, like, I want you all to have is that, oh, I see a need and I could help. I'm more, I should help. So that is what, like, I'm trying to address. I'm not trying to address, like, yeah, like, our workload only should get addressed. So, but that is a challenge. That is a challenge. Like, and after next week also, like, okay, because they have their own brokenness, like, in the sense, like, when they see a computer or anything like that, they have their own preferences to go. But we need to be patient. If I yell and if I start, like, scolding everything, and they may start doing, but it is not coming from their heart. Like, basically there is a two way of getting things done. One is heart to heart conversations, and second thing is basically uh, a practice. The very little ones, and I'm sure that, like, they will never do it. They will, if they like, but when they become old, but it is still like, you open that communication channel from a very early age, talking to them, trying to convince them, and make them be the owners or the part of that process. Like, rather than, oh, it is my order from my dad, I cannot do anything else, I just have to follow. So that type of a approach, rather than an approach. But there can be failures, and there is failures, and, like, you slowly, you need to get into it. That's what I said. Like, it is a continuous effort. You are looking into it, and doing that, and so we need to be always, like, with them. Otherwise we will never see. If I'm absent after telling something, like, I will never see, like, how things happen. But if I am present around them, what they are doing, their attitudes, and all other type of things, uh, influence that, uh, rather than just, we can make, like, okay, 7 p.m., like, no question asked, like, you need to be here and you need to do this thing. And but, like, we need to, like, that is also a possibility, but very little one, like, we can, it's not an absolute answer. Like, I know that, like, it's a, it is relative depending on the situations and all. But, like, what I am trying to communicate is the heart of our approach. We need to make them part of it. We need to understand the importance of doing that, and we need to be patient with them. We need to continuously encourage them to be part of it, and then appreciate, like, when once they do it. So all that thing, like, will together, will work, I think.
Thanks, George.
Hey, Georgette, good to see you again.
Hey, Jirin.
How are you? Okay. So, actually, Georgette has been just something. Whenever I would visit him, he would spend hours talking to me, like till 2 in the morning. So I'm very grateful for these words, and thank you for that. But I just had a quick thing, and through all our conversations, and even today, much of your focus, I would say, is more on like on the values, right? Like identify the values you want in your family, and then pick a method that works for achieving those values. And so, in a way, could you kind of help us understand how do we identify where we want our children to be? Like, how do we identify what do we vision our children 20 years from now, right? And
Mhm.
then, how to get there is kind of the next question. But that's something I think I don't know if we'll have time for that. But at least, how do we do the first part, right? How do we uh, dream and have good values for our children, so then we can focus on how do we get there.
Thank you. Uh, See, like, I think, like, basically, when I look into my children's life, I don't know, like, how long I will live with them. So I was thinking that like what should be, what should they have tomorrow? I am with them or I am not with them. What I should they should have. So that is what like always like back of my mind. So when I look into a priority from my life, especially the context they are living, I would say the stability of their life, how they address a problem. Suppose like if they are very successful, they may be very very academically excellent and all that thing. A situation happened which they didn't able to handle, going into drugs or depression or anything like that. There is instability. So what I would say that even though like I tell them also, because now they are grown up, like I said, like my priority for you is that how whether you can be happy, whether you do a very low income job where you are excellent. And that doesn't mean that I'm telling them to be mediocre. I want them to do like the best of their capacity. But at the same time, I said like my first priority is for you that whether you will be happy, whether you can live with the person. Like if you are married, like you can enjoy your life. You are looking for every day. So that is what my priority, rather than you becoming very successful, rich or anything. My priority is that like whether you can be a holy life, a life of stability. Because in America, I tell them like even because sometimes we may feel that okay, it's a certificate for them to be like not hardworking. But I tell them like, in America you can even live with a $35,000 salary happily. That is a low income salary that you can like you can do it. But uh, whether you are earning a 30,000 or 200,000 income, if you are not happy, that doesn't mean anything. So how you have your faith? There comes faith, like, and life is uncertain. You cannot predict, like anybody is like okay, the situations will come or will not come. So how your faith will play a role into that, how your friendships, how your relationship will play a role into that. And there is something like there is a the US Catholic bishops like a study. They say that like the children, like the four things like that is badly happening to their children. Like we are so basically the title of that study, the bishop council was saying that we are doing injustice to our children. This is from a general American context. They one let me remember from my mind. One is that like a very hard, heavy load on them academically and all that thing. We overload them, and they don't have the other type of formation. So basically, uh, let me again remember from my thought. Like there is a 40 point. Uh, what is that? 40 point developmental thing, like a needed for a child, for a person to become an adult. So that is coming from all the aspects of a point. Like that is not Catholic, or this is basically the scouts and all other the youth formation follow. So that 40 point developmental plan is basically coming into all the aspect of life. If that is only like if you are overloading them with an academic thing, all other developments are not happening. So in that, even like one aspect is that they should have at least a few adults, parental figures. Like just a minute, like let me close the door, like sound is. So that aspect, like we are overloading the children with the responsibility, so they don't have that. What I was saying, that the parental figures other than the parents, whom they can go to talk to in a crisis. So and okay, okay, I will screen share. Give me a minute, like.
Cheta, it's okay. No, I mean,
Okay.
We have stopped
it's
the.
fine. It's no need of sharing this. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So that aspect, and another aspect was that uh, uh, I will go short on that. So basically, what they say that they never had enough habit. Basically, when a youth or any person will come to a crisis situation, like what are the way out to that? One way is the faith or dependency on God. And second thing, our community, like a close friendships, like where like we could go and share, like okay, I'm in such a situation, so basically somebody who is trustworthy, who is sympathetic, they know that like I have somebody around them. And third is basically like good hobbies and other, like this is lighter way, like okay, you have hobbies and you have something like you are trying to change your divert your mind and all that thing. In absence of these three vending points, or the way out, what people will do, they will go to alcoholism, they will go to pornography, and then their sexual addictions. So basically it is not like they wanted to do it because they want to divert their mind or get out from any crisis. So many of our youth, like when they were like going through struggles and difficulties and all that thing, it is their way out mechanism. So when I look into like ask your question, Jaren, I would say that like my priority was that my children should have this strength of their faith, strength of their friendship and relationship in their peer level and in their adult level. And also like they should develop good uh, good reviving mechanisms like sports, games, arts, and all other type of things. So I tell them like don't if you are not a balanced schedule, I want to bring down your educational level. Like when they come with the say that I need to take that AP class or I need to go for that, I always tell that like whether is it at the expense of your prayer, your help at home, your availability for anybody is coming home, like then you should not get upset that like I have exam coming in, or because if like there should be some balance of that, but at the same time it is not because of that overload. So I tell them like okay, because life is not like achievement, life is not money, or life is not fame. It is all these aspects together. Otherwise you don't have stability. So I focus on that personally, Jaren.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Georgee, thank you. My name is Binson, and the question that I have for you is related to homeschooling. I don't know if I heard you correctly, but my understanding is that all your children have been homeschooled up until high school, right?
Mhm. Yes.
So I just wanted to understand what prompted you to take that decision, and basically your experience of highs and lows, and how you manage that.
Yeah, definitely. See, homeschooling is a method. Homeschooling is a means only, right? So basically, my fundamentals for like looking into homeschooling as a method is like what I said about it, like a good relationship with the parent. And basically, when my wife was homeschooling them, like, and she understands like each and every person's attitude, like okay, in doing stuff, because basically we want like a good discipline developed internally. Okay, when they get up, when they go there, do their studies properly, handling it, and also the prayer. Like one advantage was that we could go for a daily mass and all, and it is a Catholic curriculum, and they learn faith. And when by teaching, like she was not only teaching them the subjects, but the she was teaching them the culture, like in the sense like how to be not all the aspects of like what we covered here, but like how we can be good, how we can work with sibling. And another thing, like when five of them, they grew together, like they had a bigger bond. They help each other like in their studies or doubts or anything like that. And also like after a time, like they were doing self study, so they don't need to be taught everything. Like they will take the schedule and then they will follow, and she just have to supervise. That is up to after 4 or 5. And also like they will come up with the, it is not like they need to like she has to go after them in terms of the timing and all. So because since it was started early age, from their early age, they have that pattern. So some parents complain that, oh yeah, summertime coming, it is driving me crazy, I will handle 2 months and 3 months. So it never happened to in our house, because like in summertime also, like we make a schedule and say that okay, this is the summer schedule, and they will follow it. And so knowing them, understanding them, the homeschooling help. But that depends, like I won't recommend that for everybody as a blanket method on that. But like based on your situations or your availability and all that thing, it's a parental decision. But like one thing, whether homeschooling or not homeschooling, what I would like ask all the parents is that, like, you need to make sure that this type of the wholesome formation of the children happening, and they develop a very good relationship with them, like a freedom. Like when the parents say that okay, you don't do it or do that, like it is not that they just have to follow it, but if they have a reservation, come and say, oh, I'm going to do it tomorrow or something like that. So that type of a relationship establishing from the early age. And another aspect is quality time, because like even when the children comes after school in the evening, like they will be tired, they have so many other things to do, parents will have other priorities to do, so they get a very good quality time also as part of that. And why I send them into high school, like my that's not everybody follows, but like my personal thing is that I don't like for me, like it is not because the world is negative, and I don't want to keep my children sick, like barricaded from the world. I want them to be in the world. I want them to, like I tell them, like when they go to high school, like okay, like you can have friends with anybody. You can talk to anybody. Like it is, but like you need to have your own stand. You need to know why you are following that, and you need to know like the world around. You should not be surprised that oh, I was living in a very different world, and one day I was thrown out to this world, like where I am not able to live. So when you go to high school, like you are like for me, like that is the age. Not only high school, that when my daughter was going, I was asking, okay, like is that the time like she will come back and tell me like, Papa, this is what is happening. Or I could tell that there is like this is not the right thing to do, like don't do that. That communication, like I could establish. But when I in an early age, like they don't know like what to communicate, what not to communicate, what are the like red mark or anything like that. That's early age, they won't be able to, they will be influenced by their friends. But once they have that stability, like okay, they know how to choose things, how to get directions from the parents. I would say that then we should put them into the world. Like we should not say that, yeah, keep away from them, run away from them and all that thing. I will say like you can have friends with anybody and you can interact with anybody, but at the same time you need to know what you are and what is valuable for you. And now my daughter completed high school and she's going to college, and that experience was for me like a pleasant one. She has friends like even all other than the Java circle and all. And even son also like completed 2 years, so that for me like it was good. But every time what I'm saying is that like blindly following some patterns, we need to think that okay, what is my circumstances. And another advantage with that, like in being Dallas, like the area which I live is more conservative. Like it is not like any other part of America. Like it is the schools are conservative, and we have a good Indian community presence here. So that culture, everything was helpful for me. And even my friend like Sunil didn't send his children to even to high school. Like then when we were talking, then the reason like he was not confident that like the neighborhood is that good, like with the culture. So it is not like an absolute answer. Like it is basically looking around your circumstance and trying to see. But one thing I would say that like even homeschooling like should not be like with a negativity. It should be a positive. It is not for when people say, oh yeah, like that, yeah, like that is true. Like it is, there is some early early influence, because basically the reason in the early age, like the children learn by trusting. They don't reason. Like when they were taught in the elementary, 4 plus 4 is equal to 8, or this is a table of numbers, they just blindly follow the teacher. And that is applicable to in the terms of culture too. but they when they grow up, like maybe they come to high school or anything like that, so then they start reasoning it. So before they start they start the reasoning capacity, if we put them to a culture, they will simply adopt the culture, because the learning is by seeing, by trusting. So that aspect is also uh, like I looked into for not sending them in the early. But at the same time, uh, if you are able to do some other means to address that part, homeschooling is not needed. But we need to be very sure that we are taking care of that areas.
We have a constraint of time, but those of you who wish to drop off can do that. Those of you who wish to ask questions, maybe we can take one or two more questions, and then we can maybe wind up. Any more questions?
In the context of Jesus Youth Family Ministry, I know you guys were all together in Chicago with good groups of Jabai people. If you're looking back, what is one thing that you guys could have done differently? Um, Job result, do you think? Can you give us some suggestion?
About the family ministry.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I
How
was.
family
There are there
ministry?
are there, there are so many things like we should have done differently. Like when we talk, like we said, like, yeah, that was a blunder we did, and this was a blunder, and that was not the right way of doing it. So many things, like not particularly about things, and then I was thinking that like one thing like which is more specific, which we could do. And see, one way, see, when somebody ask. One thing like that was frustrating in the sense uh, I felt like I shared with many of my friends like in the moment, saying that like there are some people like who journeyed with us, but like we were not able to fully they are still they are part of it, but were not like fully able to cater. Like still some are not confident enough, or some are like very they're scared of getting married. Like I'm just an example, like some people like, yeah, like the people like they are still scared of marriage or scared of situations and all that thing. Like so one frustration, like okay, I say, like I tell my thing, like when I see people like who are with the movement like after many years, and still like we they like the stability which I mentioned earlier, when they are not stable enough, so then I felt like what we could have done differently. One area is that we didn't encounter them like in a loving encounter, somehow we missed that, somehow like we avoid in the sense that, yeah, we know that like this is an area like which need to be worked, and somehow like we missed that in the sense like we even though knowing that it was not that it was not known at that person. Many people they avoid, even the youth, like okay, they a troublesome area for them, and we never try to somehow develop a method like where we could still address them in a very positive way and help them. So that is one area in general, like not in terms of family. Family, basically, I would say that this culture, like which I am saying, sometimes, sometime back, like I was asking myself and others a question, uh, about the ministry part. Somebody was asking. I was asking this question. See, JY families, like we are JY, the parents are JY, and we have this faith formation priority and all that thing. But are we confidently say that a child like who grew up in a Java family for 17 18 years will have a somewhat stability or a faith journey in their life? definitely like this is a gift of the God. Like we cannot like we can do only things like the Lord has to work to get the faith and all. But at the same time, are we as a JW families, like are we doing all that thing? Like for any child who is growing up in a JW family will have this these elements like fortitude, temperance, faith, like a stability, like and good friendships and all that type of things. Like if you were not able to ensure that, then what is that the ministry like? So basically when I say what is the family ministry, like I would say that like because yesterday like I was attending a wedding and Father Timmy was officiating that wedding, and he was talking about the marriage, and then in between he said, yeah, like when I talk about all these things, like already the married people will be laughing, like because that's not seen within them, like so basically they were saying, oh, you all will be laughing like by yourself, something like that. So when I say that like uh, uh, what we have to offer the outside world, if we have a culture, if you have a priority, if you the way like we interact at home, definitely this will be a big offering to our outside world. How to bring up children, how to form them, how to make them like life witnessing. So that offering will be like rather than we do so many stuff. And one thing is true, like families do not have umpteen amount of time. Youth may have like but like when the families come, the priorities, the work and all that thing, we have only limited time availability. But the family ministry strength is not the time availability, but the witnessing of the gospel, like the way we live, the spouses interact, the stability in our families, the way we treat others, and all other type of aspects are the ministering aspect of the families. And definitely like people want to learn that, people needs in that area help. So when you look into the family ministry, don't look into terms of the time only. Like we need time, but that time is not like, okay, I have all the evenings free and or all the weekend free. Like it won't happen like that. But if you have in a month like at least a few hours of maybe reaching out in terms of a small group, prayer group, or some gathering or anything, but all other time like you need your families like to strengthen that culture. So that is not like just to flourish our wealth or our pleasure, but like it's all part of it, but at the same time like how you are witnessing. So that will really give like a families a bigger opportunity and scope.
Thanks, Georgie Jeta, and I think it's been a wonderful session. As a couple, we've got now couple goals because of the talk. A lot of things were an eye opener. Usually, we work as a checklist. Okay, physical needs, material needs, spiritual needs, but yeah, we have to spend more time with family. Yeah, it's always the journey that we get engrossed in, and not the vision. So that was really nice of you to share. Thank you for your wonderful time. I think you've even though you speak less, but I think we've made you speak a lot. Thank you so much for your time.